Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am so delighted you're here with us today. I have a very, very special guest with me here today. I have a good friend of mine, but she is also a healer, Miss Kimberly Chase. And she is here today to talk to us about all of her healing modalities. She does biofield tuning. She also does crystal Reiki and vibrational sound therapy. And I was lucky enough to be able to have a session with her a couple of weeks ago. I've had a few sessions with her. And we're going to talk today about how she is helping people to heal. And I'm very, very excited to have her because not only is she a healer, she's also, as I said before, a friend of mine. So thank you so much, Kim, for being here today.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. And it's one of those things, it was sort of like fate. We went to high school together, but we weren't really like friends or anything in high school. And then I got into my Reiki and all of my healing work. And you kind of reached out and said, "Hey, you're into healing too? So am I." And then from there, we met up, we had conversations, and I just thought it was so funny how that worked out that now later on in life we have so much in common. And that's why I couldn't wait to have you on the show to talk about all the things you're doing because first of all, you're such a light in this world and a beautiful soul. And I know you care so much about people and about healing. So, how did you first get into healing? Like, when did you know you had healing abilities or that you wanted to be a healer?
Mm, well, it stems back. If I can go back, is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Um, well, I had acne for over 25 years of my life, and that's what brought me to this healing process. I had to heal myself with the acne. I got to a point where I wasn't feeling good. I'd look at myself every day and just think I was disgusting. I know that's not nice to say, but that's how I used to view myself. I thought I was disgusting. I didn't want to be around anybody. Um, and so it got to a point back in, I'd say about 2009, 2010. I was looking at myself in the mirror one night. I had two kids. They were older now. And I just thought something was wrong with me. Like 25 years, I've been suffering from this acne and I had had enough. I'm like, no more. I can't do this anymore. I was pretty much that I don't care if I die. I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore. And so when I went to sleep that night, I had a dream that I went out of my bed and went out of my body. And then the next morning, it was like a totally different me. It's like I wanted to try to find out how to heal myself. And so I did that through food. Okay. So I started researching how can I heal myself? And that was the first step for me was through food. And so I did that for, I'd say, maybe 3 or 4 years, just kind of researching all the different ways to heal through food. And then once I started feeling good physically, through the food, that's when the spiritual aspect started to come in. Like things just started coming into my life, like Reiki and all these things. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, I want to try that because I need to heal more on an emotional level because I knew the acne was coming from something that had happened to me when I was a child. We
Hmm.
won't get into that, but that's what it was. So I needed to heal more on an emotional level. And so the Reiki was the first step for me in that direction. So I did the Reiki, which led to crystals. So I became a Reiki healer and then I became a crystal healer and then I found sound and it just went from there. So I do vibrational sound therapy, which is the Himalayan singing bowls, which you place right on the body. So it's very healing, which then led me into theta healing, and that was pretty healing in itself. I took a course for that, and I had to get up in front of the class, and she pretty much released something that I'd been holding in my root chakra, and I felt a huge release, and it was just amazing. So then from there, I found biofield tuning, and the same thing with biofield tuning. I had many, many releases from the biofield tuning. I'm like, I've got to do this. I got to share this with other people. So that's pretty much how I started. It just went from one healing modality to the next. So I have all these different things and I can combine them or I can do them individually. So it's been a journey.
Yeah. And I think that's the great thing about the healing sessions with you because you do combine all of your modalities. It's like you ask the person's soul and body like what they need to heal, and then
Yeah.
you kind of go on what you're given from the person, which is great because each person is so different and comes with so many different woundings. Like we all have our own baggage and we all
Mhm.
come with it. And so to have a one size fits all healing journey is not really the
Mhm.
best thing. It doesn't, you don't get to everything if you just do one thing for each person. So I love when I find people who really tailor their sessions to their clients because I think that's so important. And you certainly did that for me, which I super appreciate. And I can tell the care that you took in doing that. But if we have people out there, I know there's probably people who know what Reiki is by now because they've heard me talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. But what if we have people out there who don't know what the biofield tuning is, or they're not really sure how the crystal therapy works? How would you explain to someone who's never done that what exactly it is that you're doing?
Well, the biofield, well, let's do the crystals. Crystals have their own unique signature, their own frequency, and they're orderly, they're perfect, okay, in that frequency. So they have their own, like I have a crystal on me right now. So this crystal has its own properties, its own different ways of healing, and there's all different kinds, right? There's some that ground you, some that help connect you to spirit. Like there's so many different ways, but they're perfect when they are created. And it's because of this perfect frequency, when I place these on you, it helps to bring your body into that entrainment phase where say you have anxiety and I place this crystal on you. It's going, and because this is perfect and in higher in frequency, it's going to raise your body to meet and match this crystal. So that's pretty much what the crystals do. And I have different layouts that I can use with whatever you need. There's so many different things. There's anxiety, there's depression. You can do things with different ailments, um, wounding. It doesn't matter. There's so many, there's spiritual things, how to connect to your different
A
clairs.
lot
You know
of
what I
them,
mean?
they line up with the chakras too, right? So if you need
Yes.
to open and clear the chakras, you can use the crystals to do that as well.
Yeah. When I did it with you, I didn't do it for that purpose, right? I just brought in more for the heart space and more to keep you grounded and to kind of release any negative attachments or anything. That's what I use for you. So there's so many different things, but yes, you can use different crystals to align and balance the chakra centers. Um, but as for biofield tuning, that one, we did that together. Let me go back. You mentioned how I tailored it to you. Um, I do like little readings before the session. Like I'll tap into the energy and I'll do a body scan and I'll just kind of look in through the body to see what I notice that's not lighting up. So that's what she meant. That's what you meant by that,
Yeah.
because I could go in and see certain areas that weren't lighting up. And then we could kind of focus on that, which usually lines up with the pendulum when I test later, they line up. But for the biofield, um, we're working with the torus. Okay. I have this like little map right here. I don't know if you can see it. But we're working with the biofield, which is like an aura. If everybody who follows you knows what an aura is, the biofield is the exact same thing. It's just a scientific name for an aura. So in biofield tuning, the premise is that your memories are stored inside your aura. Okay. It's not just in the brain like we've been taught. So as I go through the field and I use my tuning fork from the edge, which is about 5 to 6 feet on each side of you and 2 to 3 feet above and below, as I tune you and go through the field, say I'm working on a 60-year-old and I get halfway through the field, that's going to be about age 30. Okay. And so I can hit that age 30, say I'm getting resistance, and I have some forks back here, and say I'm going along with my fork and I come into age 30 and I feel resistance. Okay. So that means the fork doesn't want to move. I can move it if I want, but if I very slowly go in, it's barely, it's not going to let me move. There's resistance, kind of like two magnets opposing each other, right?
Yeah.
Um, so by then I come into that area of dissonance is what we call it. It's out of harmony. And the reason it gets out of harmony is because of the unexpressed emotions that we have. Okay. Did you want to say something? No? Okay. So I come into this area where there's unexpressed emotions, say around 30, and I keep hitting my tuning fork. And as I do that, there's resistance. The tone will pitch. It'll make different sounds. It can have like a high pitched sound. I wrote a couple of these down. There's like, it can be like an alarming sound. It can sound like depressed. It can sound sad. It can sound anxious or fearful. And I can tell just by hitting this tuning fork whether or not you have any of those. Okay, so then as we're doing that, that tone is broadcast to your body. Okay, so I hit the fork and come up to that resistance and say that sounds like incoherent. Okay, there's charge around a memory there. So your body is going to go kind of like sonar, right? It's going to go up against the body's going to hear it, and then the body's going to correct itself. Okay. And then once that resolves and I stay there long enough until that tone becomes nice and clear, then we keep going on until we hit other ages. So I can hit multiple ages as I'm moving through. And these all have to do with charge you have, any pain, illnesses, accidents, anytime anything traumatic may have happened to you, it gets pushed out into the field and then causes that dissonant spot in the field. So then when I come across with the tuning fork, it helps to resolve it. And then we move it all the way back into the body, back into circulation. And so then the body's able to use that energy or that light, right? Those light aspects of ourself that we pushed out, they bring them back into the body, which is going to make you more whole and more centered.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the interesting thing about it, so I did the first two sessions with you in person,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the third one, we did it online through Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did Facebook Messenger, but we did it online. So the first session, one thing that I really noticed was as we were working, I felt this huge rush of energy
Mm-hmm.
moving through my body. So I must have had stuck blocked energy somewhere because all of a sudden just I felt this flood of energy rush towards me. And
Mm-hmm.
then at certain points where you were working, I could feel like the energy moving there. And I know like I had some tightness in my chest when we talked about like a certain age and when you were
Yeah.
working with the heart chakra. And then that started to dissipate and go away. And then I felt like tingles that first time. And it was very relaxing because you're sitting there and you're using those forks and you're hearing these tones. And to me, they were very relaxing. And so I was able to just we set the intention. So she told me to set the intention of what I wanted to work on when I'm sitting there. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did. And as I sat that intention, and then I was laying there, the thing that I came to her and I was most worried about that day, I started getting like guidance, answers coming to me as I was just sitting there relaxing. So that was another interesting thing for me too. And then the next day, you said, what are you feeling? Because you were so good to check in and see how are you and how are you feeling and how's it going. And the
Mhm.
next day, I felt some slight detox symptoms. So I had a little bit of a headache, but it didn't last very long. Because you said drink water, drink water, drink water, and take a bath with Epsom salt too, because you're doing all of this detoxing. So I
Mhm.
did that, and then that got better. And then the next week, I went in and we did another session.
Mhm.
And on that session, I felt almost like my crown chakra was opening. I
Mhm.
felt a tingling in my head and a pressure in my head. And then I just started, like, in the next, I would say, like, the next day or so, getting more like downloads.
Yeah.
And I got to a point, I used to be able to see when I would work with angels and that out of the corner of my eye, like the colors, just the, and that kind of went away, like it stopped happening.
Yeah.
And I sort of got that back again, that I was able to see out of the corner of my eye again. I could start to see, or even feel a presence. Like there were many times when I felt something and I could see the shadows out of the corner of my eye, and then I smelled a perfume, and I
Mhm.
knew that was my grandma, because I had a reading done when the medium said, "Your grandma comes with this perfume." And I'm like, oh, okay. So when you
Mhm.
smell that, that's her. So I knew I started like opening up, I think, a little bit more
Yeah.
psychically during that particular session. But the
Mhm.
last one was the one for me that, and I think it's because, like layers of an onion, the more you do, the more you kind of break through and tap into. The last session, you were trying to heal the blocked sadness, um, and grief that was trapped. And of
Mhm.
course, my listeners know, my mom passed away in January. And so I had a lot of that
Mhm.
trapped there and stored there. And so whatever it was you did that you hit on in that, it broke free, and I was just sobbing, like uncontrollably sobbing.
Yeah. You had a deep emotional release. And that I use the 111, and I can let you guys hear a couple of the forks maybe.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
the 111 is very powerful. It's like the holy fork, right? And it's very powerful, but you don't want to use it the first session. So that's why I kind of waited for the last session, because after you've been tuned a couple of times to get you used to the vibration, the frequencies of the sounds, and like you said, you had a detox a little bit the first time. Like you don't want to just come right in with heavy forks, because it could cause like a major detox.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had people, even though I haven't used the 111 the first session, just have major releases and major detox. And that's okay. It's going to happen. Your body's going to do what it needs to do. Whatever's stuck has been stuck there. And it, like we say in biofield tuning, better out than in. So,
Yeah.
it's going to come out, and that's what you want. So,
It did. It felt like it started like in my stomach. I remember
mhm,
I told you I feel a little nauseous. I said, I feel a knot. And
mhm,
then you said, okay, take a deep breath, take a deep breath and take a drink of water if you have it right there. And then, so I started taking deep breaths, and then it started moving like up, and it went into my throat.
mhm.
And there, I think there's a lot of unspoken
Yeah.
things which have to do with your throat chakra. And it also, I think, went down and like from my solar plexus up to then my throat chakra, and just out. That's what it felt like. And it felt like after I did that huge, almost like an emotional vomiting. You know what I mean? That sounds
Yeah.
weird to say it that way, but that's what it felt like. Like I felt physically sick at first, and then it came out as all of those emotions coming out and sobbing, and then I felt completely better after that. Like that feeling left. So it was like all of this unspoken emotion, all of the things that I hadn't processed, just like coming out.
Yep.
And
They call that emotional constipation.
yeah, I can see why
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that causes us to be physically sick if we don't take care of that, if we don't process it. But most of us don't realize because I thought, oh, I've cried, I've processed, but
Mhm.
you don't get to all of the layers. You just don't even realize they're there.
Yep. Yep. And also, like maybe you did have them at one point and you kind of stuffed them down, right? Because you were thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't feel that right now. You know what I mean? So we got to remember that when that emotion, whether like not to judge any emotions, anytime we feel an emotion, just let it rise, right? Let it come up into our awareness and feel it, really feel into it. And then it'll just pass on its own. And so a lot of times we don't do that. We don't want to feel these emotions. So we stuff them, we push them out, they get stuck out in the field, they get stuck in the body, and then we're going to have to process it later because then we're going to become ill,
Yeah.
then we're going to have to deal with it.
I'm
So just
actually
learning.
drinking out of my cup that says you got to feel it to heal it.
Yes, you do.
Because I always say that, and I do believe it, but I also believe that we're so often not aware of what we're not processing. We
Yeah.
feel like we have processed it, but we get taught so much to stuff things down that it just becomes second nature.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and so it was really an incredible experience. And I have to say, I felt a little more with each session that I did. And
Mm.
I want to look back because I wrote down everything that
Yeah,
I
it
had
builds.
because yeah, it was I'm like I won't remember all of this, but one of the things that I felt was it felt like I had years of ancestral guilt
Yeah.
like leaving my body.
Yeah.
I
Did you
felt
feel that on the last session? Because I know when I
last
hit that ancestral river, I was there for a while.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt like I felt like shame and guilt just like leaving my body.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't like my necessarily my own. I felt
No.
like it was like generations and generations of it.
And it is. Because like this field here, like I showed you before, I don't know if you can see that, but there's lines on each side of the field. So the right side is the masculine, the left side is the feminine. And so we were on the right or the left side of you. So we were on that feminine side. So went about 10 inches off the body. Um, that's where we hit that ancestral river. And so what that does is we're working with the DNA of your ancestors. Now, these can be the ancestors or it can be descendants. So it can work both ways. So
Yeah.
it totally heals that whole lineage.
I actually saw on the last one too. And one thing that I kind of liked about doing the session online was that I felt like I could be comfortable to let go of anything that I needed to. Although I would have felt comfortable with you too in person, but
Ah,
there's something about being able to be comfortable in your home
yep.
and being able to do this. But when I closed my eyes, I saw the earth and then I saw a heart and then I saw myself becoming like going into the heart and into the earth and like all of that becoming one.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And so I, to me, it was the message that, the whole, because I often question, like, why are we here? This is so difficult. Earth is heavy and I don't really like it.
Hmm.
And I've heard several things since then that I think have been interesting, but this to me was like it was a visual of you're here to spread love
Yeah.
into the earth and to help heal. to
Yeah.
heal the earth, with and in through the earth healing people. And you're doing it through spreading this message of love and not hate. And that to me was like that I got chills whenever I saw that. I was like, oh, that's very profound. And
Mm.
then I, in the past few weeks, have heard different people talking about coming here. And if you chose to come here to Earth this time,
Mhm.
it was a high honor
Yeah.
because this is the time period where more people than ever are awakening. And it's hard. It's extremely difficult and extremely hard. But people like were so excited to choose to come here
Hmm.
because we had a big mission. And so
Yeah.
if you're sitting there going, why did I do this myself? Or I hate it here, know that you should feel honored that you are here because everybody wanted to come here to experience and to help spread that mission of love and to awaken others. And this is one of the hardest times to do that. But
Mm.
you came here with that mission. And if you're listening to my podcast, you are someone who is awakened because you are trying to heal yourself and you're trying to better yourself. And that's really what it's all about because we're
Yeah.
helping heal the collective when we heal ourselves.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so if you feel that way, just know you should be honored because you got chosen to come here on one of the biggest missions. So that's
Mm.
how I choose to look at it now.
Yeah, just definitely healing ourselves is going to heal others. You know what I mean? Um, they're going to see that in you. Like, wow, what is she doing? You know what I mean? Why does she look so happy? Why, how is her life going this way? And it makes others, we're like that beacon of light that for others to help them on their path. Because healing is forever. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have 3 sessions and I'm done. It's a lifelong journey of healing. Um, and also, as you mentioned too, like your ancestors, we came here to help heal them. Not only them, but we are holding that DNA from our ancestors, right? And when we heal that, it helps all timelines, past, future timelines. It's not only healing us, but it's healing them. And another thing that they say in biofield, and I don't know if you've heard this either, is we some of the things that we have, say anxiety or depression or alcoholism or all these things, they're not really ours. Like, it's in the DNA,
Mhm.
right? And so we think like, I'm depressed, and it's like it might not even be yours. It could be an ancestor's depression that you came here to heal,
Mhm.
you know so
Yeah.
like you said, it's like an honor because we came here, we're here to heal. We're the ones strong enough to know at this time that we can help heal others and our family. i
Yeah.
think i think it's an amazing time to be alive.
It is. And it's, for the people out there, because I talk to so many people who say, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And I get it because when you're first in the awakening stages, it's rough because you feel crazy. You feel like nobody understands you and you're not like anybody else.
Yeah.
But that's when you have to, number one, find your tribe. You have to find people like you. And I
Yeah.
don't believe it's an accident that like you and I ended up meeting. The universe puts you with your tribe, and you can always ask, help me find my people, people who will
Mhm.
support me. And healing work, going to someone who does work like you do, is so important because you get to a point in your journey where you can only do so much yourself
Yeah.
because number one, you don't even know it's all there.
Hmm.
And it takes the deeper healing to really get through it. If you're feeling like I've been trying to heal this one thing forever and ever, and it just seems like I'm stuck and I'm not getting anywhere, it's probably a signal to you that you need someone else to help you. You need to
Absolutely.
go deeper. And a lot of these great tools that we have, like you have the crystal therapy, the crystal Reiki, and then the biofield tuning. Those are excellent tools to help you get to the really, really deeply rooted things. And
Yeah.
those are the things that lie in your DNA, things you brought with you from past lives, things that your ancestors brought with, all of those things that you might not even realize are there.
Mm, I know. I was going to say something, but I don't remember because I was listening to you. And that's another thing that we all need to work on as a collective is listening, actively listening.
Right. Not
So,
listening for what you're going to say next, but listening to what people are actually saying.
yeah, and I'd rather forget what I was going to say because I'm honoring and listening to you. You know what I mean? Um, yeah.
I love that. And so you said you have your tuning forks there, and so you were going to give
Yeah.
this.
Did
Uh,
you guys want to hear one?
yeah, I would love for them to hear what it sounds like. And so imagine that during your session, you're laying down, and if you're in person, Kim is so sweet. She makes you feel so at home and at ease. She has this beautiful office space, and it's, you know, the energy is amazing as soon as you walk in, and she has beautiful scents going. And so you lay down, she puts a cloth over your eyes so you don't need to worry about anything, like just relax.
Mhm.
And she does her work, and so you hear these tones as you're laying there just relaxing. So she's going to demonstrate that for us now.
And that's what I say to you is that's why I put the eye pillow over the eye because I want you to focus on what you're sensing, what you're feeling, not what I'm doing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so this is the 174 and this is like my main workhorse fork, okay? If you would compare these to like sandpaper, this would be the medium grit.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear that?
It doesn't pick it up very well here.
Oh, no. Still no?
No, it's not wanting to pick up the sound here. Maybe
Let me
that
try
means
this
everyone
one.
just has to come in person and
That's right. Let me try this one. Nothing?
no, it's not doing anything, but I swear to you,
Yeah.
these tones, and we've done this. It's so weird. The universe is like, nope, nope, you gotta come
Yeah.
try it out yourself. You gotta love technology sometimes. But yeah, these tones are really, I thought they were relaxing, and I enjoyed just laying down and listening to it. And like I said, I enjoyed it distantly too. And you do both in person and distant healing.
Yep. Yep.
And do you
Absolutely.
offer packages?
I can. Yeah. I don't normally, but I can.
Okay.
Sometimes it's cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So if you're
depends on what people can afford. You know
right,
what I mean?
yeah. And if you're interested in person, she is located in Collinsville, Illinois, and that is not far from St. Louis. We're about 15 minutes away from St. Louis if you're in that area. But I know that many of you are not local, and that's okay because she does do it distantly, and it works just as well. When we did it distantly, I could still hear the tones. I could hear her talking, and I still, like I said, that third session was the most powerful for me because that is when all of those emotions came out and I just started crying. And I know that a lot of people, they want to hold in their emotion, and you might say, well, I don't want to cry. Sometimes I feel that way too, but you have to get it out.
Yeah.
You'll feel so much better after you do. I mean, you really, really will. It's just a purging of everything that you've kept in. And it's like a safe space to do that, and you feel better and better like every day. I had the pain in my neck, and when I came to her that first day, she's like, "Are you having pain in your neck?" And I said, "Yes, I am. I think I slept on it wrong or something." And she's like, "Oh, I was picking up on that."
That
And
was the body scan.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I didn't have pain after we did the third session. I haven't had any more pain there in my neck since then.
Nice.
So that's another thing too, is if you're experiencing any kind of pain, these tuning sessions, a lot of times the pain is directly related to emotion or something that's stuck in your body. So that's the good thing about doing these kinds of sessions, because it absolutely releases all of that, which then in turn releases the pain that you're feeling in your body. You're not holding on to it anymore.
Mhm. And also, as you said before, when you do release, like when you cry and just any kind of purging, just any kind of release that we have through tuning or Reiki or whatever we're doing, every time we release something, we're opening up space, right? So we're opening up space in the central channel and allowing, like you said, for your psychic abilities, for your intuitive abilities to be stronger and come more online. And so I love that too, just because every time, because that's what, we're all intuitive, we're all psychic, right? But we've all these emotions and all of this trauma that we hold in our bodies and our field, we can't access it, So the more we can clear, the higher we can raise our vibration and the more in tune and we can see beyond the veil of what's possible and what we can see with our eyes. So yeah.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. I cannot recommend Kim enough because I thought her sessions were amazing and they were beautiful, and she's a beautiful person. And so, if we have people out there listening who might want to try the biofield tuning, or perhaps they want to even get Reiki with you, what is the best way for them to book a session with you?
Well, you can just go to my website, just www.divinityunveiled.com. You can book online, or you can just call me and, either call me or text me. My phone number is on my website as well, but usually you email me through that. And so we can connect that way. So yeah, just as long as you go to my website, we can definitely connect.
And we'll
And
have the link in the show notes for your website too, so people can go directly there and click on the Divinity Unveiled, and then they can reach out to you through your website. So, well,
thank
I want to
you.
thank you for my sessions, and also for being here today, and for being an amazing light worker, because you're so needed. And it's an honor to know you and to have you on my show.
Thank you so much. That's so nice.
And I want to thank all of you for being here with us today as well. As always, if you like the show, please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. And the greatest compliment you can pay me is to share it with anyone you think might benefit. Subscribe if you really like us. And if you want to join me over on Patreon, you can actually see the video of this interview, and you will get to see Kim and her tuning forks and what a great, beautiful light she has around her, her aura. And you can also you can join us for our lives, because I do live card readings on Patreon on Monday, and I also do a live masterclass on Monday on Patreon. And you can join us there, and we'd love to have you. I hope that no matter what, you have a beautiful day from wherever you are, and I am sending you so much love and light. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.